Without any doubt, the French contrast method is an excellent way to load an athlete's body in the right way. Many experts still use it in their training programs to develop both power and speed simultaneously. So what exactly is the French contrast method? To understand it, we first need to know the basics of complex training and contrast training. In fact, the French contrast method is a mixed concept of both. Let's first talk about complex training. It involves performing two types of exercises back to back. The first exercise is usually a weightlifting movement where you lift a heavy weight around 90 to 95% of your 1 rep max. That means you don't have to use your full 1 rep max. Keep a little margin to stay safe. As soon as you finish the heavy lift, you immediately move on to a plyometric. The goal is to match the movement pattern of the lift and the plyometric move. For example, if you performed a squat with 90% of your 1 rep max, right after that you do 2 or 3 vertical jumps or box jumps. This teaches the body to produce powerful output. This entire process counts as 1 set. You need to perform 3 to 6 such sets. The rest between the 2 movements within a set is very short, just 5 to 20 seconds to maintain muscle activation. But between full sets, you can take 2 to 4 minutes of rest to allow the body to recover. Now let's talk about the contrast training method. Its concept is somewhat similar. Here too, you begin with a heavyweight training, again, around 90 to 95%. The only difference is that the second movement is also a weighted one. If both movements are similar, like a heavy squat followed by a lighter squat, the results are even better. Now that you've understood complex and contrast training, let's look a bit deeper into how the load is managed in this method. First, you start with a heavy weight set, around 90 to 95% of your 1 rep max. Once you complete that set, the next set is the same movement but with light or medium weight, around 50 to 60% of your 1 rep max. Let's take a simple example. Suppose your 1 rep max for squats is 100 kilograms. First, you'll do 1 rep with 90 kilograms, then rest for 2 to 3 minutes, and after that, perform the same squat with 50 or 60 kilograms for 4 to 5 reps at a fast tempo. Rest again and repeat this whole process 4 to 5 times. This way, your muscles receive both heavy load and speed signals together. Here, both the heavy and light weights are used, so the body experiences a combination of high intensity and high speed. But keep in mind, when you're using light weight or doing plyometric movements without any weight, you need to perform them as fast as possible. Only then will your muscles truly train for explosiveness. In short, the basic idea behind both complex and contrast methods is the same. First, activate the muscles with a heavy load, and then use that same movement pattern either without weight or with lighter weight to perform it powerfully. This principle shocks the body and helps in developing both speed and power. Now, when these two methods are combined, that's what creates the French contrast training method. Here's what you do. First, a heavy movement, then immediately a fast plyometric move, then a short rest, and then the same pattern either with weight or using a different variation. For example, first a squat, then a box jump, then a squat with light weight, followed by an assisted jump. You repeat this full cycle 4 to 5 times. So essentially, the French contrast method combines those two elements, heavy strength and fast speed, to give your body the benefit of both types of training at the same time. Now look, in the French contrast method, you're essentially combining complex training twice and contrast training twice in the same session. As you saw earlier, a heavy weight movement followed by a fast plyometric movement. This pattern is repeated again and again. So in the first part, you have a strength movement followed by a power movement. That's one complex. Then again, another strength movement followed by another plyometric. That becomes the second complex. Now, the contrast part works like this. First, you perform the movement at high intensity with heavy weight, and then you reduce the weight and repeat the same movement pattern at higher speed. For example, you do squats with 90% of your 1 rep max, take a short rest, and then do the same squats with 50% weight at a fast tempo. That's contrast. The same idea applies to plyometrics. First, you apply high force using just your body weight, then use assistants or bands to perform the same jump even faster. So your body trains for both high force and high speed in the same set. It becomes very clear that the French contrast method is basically a combination of 2 complexes and 2 contrasts put together. To understand this better, let's look at 2 practical examples, one for upper body and one for lower body. Upper body example. Let's say you're doing a bench press. First, you do 2 reps of bench press with around 90% of your 1 rep max. Immediately after that, perform 5 fast explosive push-ups. Then take a 1 to 2 minute break. Next, do 5 reps of bench press with lighter weight, around 50%. Without stopping, do 5 assisted band push-ups. This entire sequence counts as 1 set. You need to complete 4 to 5 such sets. Take 3-4 minutes of rest between sets to maintain strength. Lower body example, same formula here. First, do 2 squats with around 90% of your 1 rep max. Immediately follow with 5 box jumps. After that, rest for 1 to 2 minutes. Then do 5 squats with 50% weight, but keep the speed high. Then perform 5 assisted vertical jumps. You can use resistance bands to boost jump power. This also counts as one full set. Complete 4 to 5 sets with rest in between each. Just remember, this entire workout only works if you give full power in every movement. It won't help if you go slow or half-heartedly. You need to give maximum speed and force in every rep. That's the only way to get the full benefit of the French contrast method. Now, the most important thing, if you're doing this method, don't go in half-heartedly. You need to give your full effort in every movement, otherwise it simply won't be effective. The second rule is, don't pick exercises randomly. Make sure all 4 exercises follow the same movement pattern. For example, if you're focusing on lower body, then all 4 exercises should be lower body focused. You can't just throw in a squat, then a chest press, then something for the core. That won't give the desired output. Another big mistake people make is not using the right weight for the first movement. Remember, the first lift is the most critical. Try to go as close as possible to 90% of your 1 rep max. If you're doing it at 70 to 80%, you won't get the full benefit. One more key point, don't do this workout right before a competition. It puts a high level of stress on the body. If you try this 1 or 2 weeks before a race or a match, your body might not fully recover and you may not perform at your best. Now comes the question, can everyone do this? The answer is absolutely not. Only try this if you have at least 3 years of serious training experience. By young athlete, we don't mean by age. We mean someone who has a solid understanding of strength training fundamentals. For example, if a 19-year-old has been training consistently for 3 to 4 years, they can do it. But if someone is 25 years old but has just 1 year of gym experience, the risk is too high. If you're a beginner and haven't completed those 3 years yet, don't feel bad that I've explained the whole concept and now I'm saying don't try it. You can still do a safer version of it. Here's how. Instead of doing a jump after every strength set like in French contrast, finish your full strength session first and then do plyometric jumps separately. This reduces unnecessary stress on your body while still giving you speed and power benefits with much less risk. If you find these kinds of practical and safe ideas helpful, then hit like to show your support. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you keep getting smart training tips like these. See you in the next video. Until then, keep training, stay strong, all the best.